Yeah, it's Xavier, and welcome to my bonsai retreat. Finally, we're going to get around to doing the carving that I wanted to do on this old Chinese elm, 30 years plus. A little bit of just pruning back, just to shape. I'm not doing anything else with it. The main work is the carving. And I reckon this is going to look absolutely exceptional. But if you want to find out how good it looks, then obviously you need to hang around and wait to the end. And preferably, if you want to help me and help the channel, don't skip too much. I've given you little time bars just to give you... Oh, someone's calling me. That must be someone telling me they're not going to skip. What do you reckon? That was someone from Beneficial, and they wanted to do some market research. And I thought that was very nice of them to ask if I wished to participate. But we all know what happens after that, don't we? We seem to participate an awful lot more. So I gave him some good words of advice. He didn't want to buy one of my bonsai either. Funny that. Anyway, this is the Chinese elm. Now, I'm sure you all remember, what, we must be going back 5 months? At least 5 months. In fact, I actually vaguely remember it was sometime around the 25th of March or something, when, obviously you're aware it was a great big tree, affected badly by dehydration, lost the top 2/3, with a lot of advice. And I think it was Candice from Bonsai Science who picked up on this option of doing a semi-cascade. Thank you, Candice, and hopefully we'll see you again at some point in the future. I'm sure commitments always get in the way of a good bonsai video. Yeah, so the first stage was to decide this is what we were going to have, and I removed a load of branches here and said, hey, we're going to deadwood this at a later time in the year. Guess what? It's a later time of the year, and we're going to try and deadwood it. Now, I've got my wee Nibbler, which I got from Chinese Elm Bonsai. Again, no plug, it's just they were the only ones who had one. And I did a little bit of scoring on it and realised this may not be enough. The Nibbler started to go in on it, and I think if I'd given it a bit more pressure, I'd have probably got a lot more results. But I'm very aware that I don't want to be blunting it too quickly, so we have to try something a little bit heavy duty, I think. Having seen the difficulty and how dense that wood's going to be, I've got my good old-fashioned Bosch PSB 1000 RE. I don't know what the RE stands for. Is that like a turbo drill? It's about 900 years old. It's nearly as old as me. And I'm going to try and just core it. Now, you don't have to watch me do the coring, unless you go, core, that's good. That's a dad joke, by the way. So yeah, so I'll be doing some of those, maybe a bit of fasty Xavier motion, but basically I'll probably come back to you at different times. We'll give you a quick spin of this, so you can see what it's looking now. So, let's have a quick spin of it first. As I say, the cascade is going to come down on this, lovely movement there. The rocks are awesome. I may keep these, I don't know. So the design may still change yet again. I think I played, there could be a front, I don't know to be honest, but I could have, I mean at the moment there's 2 branches under there that are cascading down, that are semi-cascading. Wait until we've cleaned them up to see better. Obviously I need to clean up all the mess around here, and looking at it, we've actually got life up here, but I'd already made the decision on the deadwood, so we'll clean this up. Some of this is very soft, so I don't know how it's going to react. Best get the drill on and just find out, I think. I mean, it may not go cascade. I may actually do something with those as well. But I'll clean it up a bit anyway. Let's just shorten some of these off. I know. Who am I imitating? A very Peter Chan here. But truthfully, I'm not really concerned too much about how this is looking. I just want to get it out of the way of this area here. You've got an idea of what I'll be doing. I'm not going to keep doing it like that for the next 20 minutes, because even I can't think of anything to do for 20 minutes. It's that funny. We've got big bits that are going the wrong way. Yeah, so I'll keep working on that. What I do need to do is remove, I've got stuff in here, I'll remove this. And I did think about regrowing a central core from here, but I think, as I said in my original video, it would take so long to do it. I've committed to deadwooding up here. I suppose the biggest thing I am happy is that there's been so much growth on this. It's coming from a junction. Don't want anything going backwards there. And there's some dead stuff in there as well. So we've got those, I want to keep them. This one here we'll get rid of. Very big stub here, I don't know how tough that's going to be now. Very tough. If we're going for a front here, then I want to try and carve down the centre there, which means I need a big drill hole down there. I'll come back to you when I've cleaned this up a bit. Now obviously this is taking a lot longer than I thought it might, but then I had to go with my DeWalt, and my DeWalt said no thanks. So I'm just slowly channeling. One thing I'll always say to you, I do in little short bursts, and always keep checking that your actual doodah, your nibbler, is secure. Oh, and for all those who like to draw the bits they're going to take out, like scripts, I don't do scripts. Whatever comes out of my mouth is what you see, and whatever I carve is whatever I carve. So no planning involved, it's just brute work. You see what I'm doing. I'll come back to you again when I've done a bit more, shall I? And the other way is just get your branch splitter. This is always easier on drier wood, but just want to try and get rid of some of this. I'm just trying to really rough it up. Also another great way of getting the bark off. And I will continue to work my way mangling this as I see fit. Generally though, you notice it's downward scoring, and I've found that that effect works better, and you can see you get different colour graduations as well. And when I burn it, because of course I've got that as well. Okay, well I've been at this for a sort of good 20-25 minutes. I've had gouges out. Obviously I've been going to town with the trunk splitters. I'm just trying to remove all the remaining dead bark on it, a little bit more deeper channels, split the top off a bit. I think this is going to be the first part of doing the deadwood. I'm not going to try and do it all in one go, because I also think I need some more powerful tools, and I don't want to wreck what I've got. But look, if you take it around, done splits here. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the flamethrower onto it, just so I can get rid of all the bits and pieces on it. So what I am going to do though, is just cover those little ones. But the good thing about the use of this is it also gives some incredible colours. And I will be putting the preserver on later on, probably. Get a sense of the burning, and it's definitely not finished. That's quite an interesting view. Okay, so I've had quite a lot of fun with that. As I say, I want to get a lot deeper in those channels. I just don't think my tool's the right one to do it. I will do a little bit more in the afternoon, but I'm just going to continue to do some pruning back on this, to be honest. So this, I know full well you don't want to see me pruning, so I'll continue to just sort this out a little bit, and then probably come back to you when I might just have carved in a few more channels, and then we'll do a bit of preserver on it. But overall, yeah, happy with how it's working. I just do need, I definitely need to invest in a more powerful rotary tool, I think, and some better bits. Otherwise I'm just going to hack and break that one. Anyway, let's go do some pruning and have a bit of lunch. Well, that was a nice lunch, and I'm just coming back to this. Now, I know, and I was thinking about it over lunch, you're going, there's at least half of you going, what on earth are you doing keeping that great big monster there? So surely we should bring that right off and then perhaps regrow a new apex with that. And you know, traditionally that's probably the thing to do. But as you know, this tree has been a bit of an experiment after the sun made play with it. So I've been using it as a carving experiment, and that doesn't mean that I can't still bring this down further. Now, I'm the first one to put my hands up and say I'm certainly not an expert to this, and this is early days carving, so I'm using it for that. But I'm also using it for you. What do you think I should do next? And that's legitimate. There are no right or wrong answers in bonsai these days. There's just preferred answers for the artiste. Now, interestingly enough, for those of you who don't know Dan from Dr. Bonsai, or is it DR Bonsai, but I always think of him as Dr. Bonsai. He's got a great channel, early-ish days, but he's actually got some very, very good trees. And he has some very, very good connections as well. So if you start watching his videos, which I actually really do say you should do that. In fact, I'll put a link in the description, and I may even put a video link to one of his videos up just there. Well, anyway, I was speaking to him, and he straight away came back with what I would call a traditional solution, and I'll show you a picture of it now. And he does basically remove all that, and he's looking at using one of these as another side branch, and perhaps either this one, probably this one, would be the new leader, and build something from it. Yeah, and I think that's an option. I think if you looked at my first video, you said the one thing I said is the reason I wasn't looking at rebuilding there is because of the amount of time I think it would take to get a thick enough branch for it to look vaguely realistic. Now, one of the final things I said I was going to do is apply some treatment. And I'm using the Deadwood preserver from Kaizen, and that's Graham Potter's concoction. And I'm just going to liberally apply it. Now, everything I do today, obviously, as I've done with this tree, I've done it in bits, so I can ultimately keep changing my mind, knowing that the final solution is actually, if I don't like any of it, is to remove this whole top and go with the semi-cascade idea. And that choice will probably get made in the spring. So I'm going to continue to paint this on and come back to you when it's done. Okay, so we're all done. Brush is washed. And now it's just a case of waiting till spring, because the next major thing that's going to happen is in spring, when I take it out of this great big lump of a pot, which was only a standby one while I transferred it, and that's the next point, when I'll be able to actually have a look at that great clumping root in there and establish just how much of an angle I can get and how best to do it. And I can imagine I can see this in a relatively shallow, flat pot. And we'll continue to discuss and ponder the extent of the Deadwood as we do. Giving it a spin. I put some meal on there, and Dougie's balls are always sitting in each corner. As you see, you've just cut it down a little bit, so a lot more definition within what will be potentially the future pads. I quite like the Deadwood. Part of me would like it to be lower down, I think, but I'm not going to I'm not going to dilly about the bush. I have actually seen many trees that look like this, and I do wonder whether perhaps growing this, so branches start coming in and around this, sort of have that as a central core, which mask it so you only see the top. I don't know. It's not traditional bonsai, I know, but then we're always progressing and moving forwards, and I'm sure there's people saying that it's a deciduous tree, you don't do deadwood or deciduous. Well, I can drive a mile up my road towards Mountain Mowbray and I can see countless trees, deciduous, that look various forms like that, where we've lost the whole top half and the top half still hanging on, dead, and yes, eventually the wind will have it over, while the lower part still remains green. So, from Xavier, having had just a little bit of fun with his carving tools and stuff like that, I will say thanks very much for taking the time to watch. If you didn't take the time to watch, then you don't need to hear me say thank you, and you won't hear me say thank you. I do come out with some dribble again. Again, a big thank you to Dan of Dr. Bonsai. His picture is quite illuminating, and certainly food for thought for more contemporary, more traditional design, I think. But I'll be guided a lot by how these two grow on, and I'll be guided even more so by your views. So please get those views in the comments. If you don't like it, rather than using short letter words, why don't you explain why you don't like it and what you would actually do? Because hey, I'm still growing in this, as is this tree. From Xavier, thanks very much. God bless. Cheers.